Hi, everybody. So Kathleen and I are doing a wrap-up video that will be on her YouTube channel at the end of the month, where we talk about the buddy reads that we have done so far for the Gilmore Girls TBR, a few book to movie comparisons, and our thoughts on our favorite episodes of the first two seasons of the Gilmore Girls. We're going to start off this combo video with talking about our first two episodes, top 10 favorite episodes of Gilmore Girls for the first two seasons. Obviously, we are filming this in separate places because we couldn't figure out a good way to film it at her apartment. So I am going to send my clips to her, and then she's going to edit everything all together. So the first episode I wanted to talk about is Kill Me Now. So I have been watching a lot of YouTube videos about the different Gilmore Girls characters, and in this episode, Rory goes golfing with her grandfather, and in the first in some of the episodes I've seen Richard in so far in Gilmore Girls, he comes off as pretty rude and annoying. This is one of those episodes because Emily pretty much has to pressure him to get Rory to take her golfing, and then in an episode, and then we'll get into how he acts elitist in a later episode in a little bit. The next episode that I wanted to talk about is the one where Rory has two different birthday parties. Now Lane is in the birthday party that's at her house, but I feel like Dean should have been there too, and her friends from school probably should have been there, because it was weird that it was mostly Lane and then all of the adults from the town. But I liked that birthday party better than the birthday party at Emily and Richard's house, because that just seemed boring. The next episode is the episode where Rory goes to her first dance at Chilton Academy. And in Pensive Whiskers video, where she talks about Madeline and Louise, they mention the difference of Louise's and Madeline's reactions when Rory gets to the dance. Madeline compliments Rory on her dress, which I thought was very sweet of her, and Louise just flirts with Dean, which I think is inappropriate because she's there with her own date. My next favorite episode is Forgiveness and Stuff, followed by Emily in Wonderland. Emily in Wonderland is the episode where Emily sees the place where Lorelai raised Rory when she left their house. And, I really liked that scene because I think it was humbling for Emily to see where Rory and Lorelai started their lives together before she got the job at the inn. My next favorite episode of season 1 and season 2 of Gilmore Girls is Presenting Lorelai Gilmore. This is the one where Rory is introduced into Stars Hollow high society by her grandmother, Emily, and I really thought Rory's dress was really pretty in this scene and the scene at the Chilton, in the episode at the Chilton dance, and I like the fact how, her dad gives her away to high society. I thought that was a really sweet moment because you don't really get to see Christopher in very many moments where he's connecting with Rory. The next episode I wanted to talk about is Runaway Little Boy. This is the scene where Rory is working on a school project where she is in Romeo and Juliet and Paris is directing her. In the play, Tristan, who is played by Chad Michael Murray, is playing Romeo opposite Rory's Juliet, and he kind of isn't really putting his effort into learning his lines, and he would rather spend time hanging out with rebellious kids, which actually causes him to get kicked out of the play. And I think Brad should have tried to manage his anxiety better and stopped being so afraid of Paris, because I think he would have been a much better Romeo instead of Tristan. And I hated how Dean was getting so jealous of Rory for kissing Tristan. I mean, they were acting on stage together. It wasn't like they were, like, going out or anything. The next episode I wanted to talk about is the Bracebridge Dinner. This is the Christmas episode where the performers that are supposed to perform a holiday event at the Independence Inn get snowed in Chicago. So Lorelai and Michelle invest in the rest of the town to be part of the performance, and I really, really love this episode. As you all know, I'm big into theater, and I love any TV episode that focuses on performances. Like, no matter how bad Joey's theater performances are in Friends, I still like those episodes and his evolution as an actor. And my favorite character in the Bracebridge Dinner performance is Kirk. I think he does the best job. The next episode I wanted to talk about is A Tisket, a Tasket. This is the episode where the town of Stars Hollow has a lunch basket bidding competition. And this reminds me of the same exact scene in the musical Oklahoma. And I think it's really sweet that Miss Patty is trying to help Lorelai find a guy to date. And the scene between Rory and Jess on the dock is really sweet also. The final episode I wanted to talk about is Back in the Saddle Again. So by this episode, Richard has been retired, and he is asked by Rory to help her with her economics class project, and he resists initially, and Emily kind of forces him into it, kind of like in the episode where she asks to take her golfing. The product that Paris comes up with for their business fair is a first aid kit that fits easily into a locker. And I think that idea is pretty genius. If a product like that actually existed when this show was airing and I was in high school, I definitely would have used it. And it made me think of when I was in middle school and we had the invention convention and we had to come up with a product and come up with a way to sell it and market it. That's basically what they did for their business fair. And Richard is so elitist in this episode, and he's also a sore loser when Rory and her team doesn't win, and he goes up to Headmaster Charleston and basically says he demands a recount, and Headmaster Charleston says, okay, I did a recount, and the winner still wins. So yeah, Richard is he's not very nice in that episode. And I wanted to also talk about another video on Pensive Whiskers channel that I have been watching. It's about Madeline and Louise, and it goes into detail about going into their characters, and Pensive Whiskers mentions a fan theory that Madeline is neurodivergent. And as I have been watching the episodes with Madeline in them, I can definitely say that I agree that she could be neurodivergent, because she has a lot of the same issues that I have with my disability, with not knowing when to enter conversations in at the right time and stuff of that sort. So I really appreciate that representation of neurodiversity, because at the time that Gilmore Girls was airing, that was when I was diagnosed with my nonverbal learning disability. And if I had been watching Gilmore Girls at that time, then I think I would have appreciated Madeline's characterization a lot more. I still appreciate it, but I'm just saying that back then I would have appreciated a lot more, because I would have connected more to Madeline's character as somebody who was the same age as Madeline and Rory and Paris. And my fan theory is, based on the episodes I have seen with Paris in them, is that Paris is related to Monica and Ross, because A, they're both from rich families, B, Paris is very neurotic, like Monica is. Like, Monica shows that she's neurotic with keeping things clean and keeping things organized, and Paris is the exact same way. And Ross is neurotic in the episode where he loses his temper about his coworker eating his Thanksgiving Day leftover sandwich. And I actually was doing research for this video when I was looking up information about Madeline, about being neurodivergent, and I came across information that Ross could be counted as autistic, and so couldn't Phoebe, and that she could also possibly have ADHD. These are just theories, and if these theories are true, then I really appreciate the care that the Friends directors took in representing these disabilities. And if the fan theory is true that Phoebe is autistic, then I think that Lisa Kudrow did a good job with portraying somebody who is autistic. I do not have autism, but I have a disability called nonverbal learning disability, which is similar to autism, but I am not autistic. I have said in other videos that I have made in the past that I am autistic, and I apologize for confusing people and misspeaking. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.